And here we go.
The Simpsons.
Welcome, everybody, to the I swore to never read again after To Kill a Mockingbird gave me no useful advice on killing mockingbirds, the podcast. Yes, this is a perfectly cromulent Simpsons show, episode 48. Hello, everybody. Hello, Kristen. How are you today?
Hello. Hi. I'm awake.
I was going to say, Kristen and I split time zones by 3 hours, and we're recording in the pretty early afternoon. So, sorry.
It's after 9 a.m. now, so
yeah,
it's
all right.
winning. It's all right.
But we're here. The sun is up, and we're going to talk about The Simpsons. Yeah, so, guys, if you're new to the show, most of you aren't. It would be weird to start on episode 48. But couple lifelong Simpsons fans sitting down talking about The Simpsons one episode at a time, just sharing our love for the show that has gotten us through these last,
many years of our lives.
We're just gonna go under 40, all right? Under 40 years, okay?
Neither of us are 50. Neither of us are in our 50s, right? That's all anybody needs to know.
The white in my beard is telling too many stories. You guys can find us on all of the social media grams. Instagram, TikTok, and YouTube are the ones we're talking about. Anything else is simply you're not going to find us there. At all of those, we are at Cromulent Show. If you find us on those other platforms, somebody stole our name, and his identity theft is not a joke, Kristen.
Unless they're putting the link that leads back to our actual podcast, then
Truth.
Then they're just doing a service.
Okay. Yeah, you're right. A vigilante podcast advertiser. Thank you so much out there. the Facebook page for at Cromulent Show.
Yeah, that we didn't make, but someone's like, "Hey, I'm going to advertise for them."
Come on down.
You're cool. You person.
So if you want to talk to us, reach out to us there. If you feel the need to email us, cromulentshow@gmail.com. You can reach out to us anyway. Those 4 ways, okay? Find us.
Anyway, any one of the 4 ways. There we go.
Any of these 4 ways. We'll have something in the works here. Kristen and I got to kind of figure some stuff out, but we'll have a Discord landing page. Both Kristen and I operate separate Discords from things we've done in the past. And so one of those will house a Simpsons thing for those of you who are listening now who want to continue discussing The Simpsons with us and similar like-minded people. That will be available. We just don't have it set up yet.
It will exist.
Later, I'll do a Poochie dub on this where I'm like, yes, the Discord is this.
Yeah, there we go.
I have to go home now. Okay, so this is a great episode, and I think we want to get the ball rolling. Let's do it.
Yeah, let's go.
Okay, so this is season 3, episode 13. This is episode 48 overall, as I said before. This one is titled Radio Bart. Production code is 8F11. This aired January 9th of 1992. This is the first episode of 1992. So Happy New Year!
I can't remember. Are they playing on Thursdays now back at this time? It's a Thursday show at this time, isn't it?
Let's find out.
Yeah, I think it was
What day of the week is January 9th, 1992? That is a Thursday. You are correct. Yeah, so this would be Thursday Prime before they switched to the Sundays. This episode is written by John Vitti and directed by Carlos Baeza. I don't know that Carlos Baeza has directed one before this, and I don't know that he directed one after this. So
he did a good job.
Yeah, he did. The chalkboard gag on this one is, I will not carve gods. Normally, I'm like, oh, yeah, that's pretty fun. I was like, I have no idea what that means. And then the couch gag is they bounce and switch places on the couch.
Yeah, it's a cute one.
It's
a cute one.
Guest star on this one is Sting as himself. What a get.
Like when I was a kid and I watched this, and even well into my adults, I'm like, that's not Sting. That's somebody doing a bad Sting impression.
I 100% thought the same thing. I was like, they couldn't even get somebody that sounded like Sting, and
right?
it just is Sting.
Right? I was just like, what a bad Sting impression. Like, who's doing this one? You know?
Apparently Sting. Uh,
Apparently Sting.
so I have a little bit of rating information on this one for you. In its original broadcast, Radio Bart finished 31st in the ratings for this week. So of all TV show, that's pretty great. It's pretty great. Top 50
Pretty
is a
good.
pretty decent land. This had a Nielsen rating of 14.1, which would give you the equivalent of approximately 13 million viewing households on that Thursday night. That's
That's a lot
pretty
of
good land.
people.
Yeah.
There's a lot
Yeah,
of on a,
13
on a Thursday
million.
night. On a
So
Thursday
Nielsen
night.
only takes into account American audiences.
Yeah.
So at in the 90s, there was approximately 280 million people in the United States, and 13 million of them were watching The Simpsons. Pretty great. Pretty great. I like that. Fun fact, this episode was nominated for a Primetime Emmy Award for Outstanding Animated Program, but lost to Will Vinton's A Claymation Easter on CBS. I see your eyes darting around like, what the hell is a Claymation Easter? That is exactly the correct reaction that you should have. I don't know if I go into it more, but basically the idea here was that there was, I don't remember what episode it was of Ren and Stimpy, but it also was in the running. And the idea was that they split the votes. Like if just one of them had been in, this Easter shit would not have done anything. But since they were both in there and the same kind, it's like when two really good baseball players are up for MVP voting and play for the same team.
Yeah.
It's like sometimes neither of them win because the vote gets split like that. And
Yeah.
it's just,
That makes sense though, right? Like that makes
and I don't know if
sense.
that's actually what happened, but that's
Yeah, it totally makes sense.
seems plausible. So
I mean, unless
okay.
this claymation thing is super beautiful, which I feel like I have to like look
You
it
know
up
what?
now.
I looked at stills. I looked at stills and I was like, whatever.
Eh.
Like I got to tell you, Easter doesn't move the needle for me. It's like I'm not like looking up Easter bunny lore, and I'm not. It's like I'll go and I'll eat food with the family, and zombie Jesus Day and everything. But mostly for me, it's not.
It's food and family and like give me chocolate. Yeah.
Yes, exactly. It's so I'm not like, guys, I really want to get an Easter movie in today. Like I don't think a Christmas passes without me being like, yo, let's throw on Elf, or let's put on Home Alone, or I've watched Home
right?
Alone twice
Scrooged.
already this season.
Yeah.
Yes. Home Alone's my go-to. I don't know. It's just like that was the movie as a kid. I was like, God damn it, leave me alone so the house can get broken into and I can just do some shit here. Okay.
Just quick question: have you watched Violent Night yet?
With David Harbour?
Yeah.
I have not. I watched some
God.
clips because the one of the YouTube channels I watched covered it.
Yeah.
Like kills on it. So I've seen like basically the Cliffs notes.
So I bring that up because the little girl that plays like his like partner in it, her whole inspiration for the night is the fact that she just watched Home Alone. So she's like, I'm going to set up booby traps to get the bad guys.
Her. I love this child. I
Yeah.
will adopt her now.
Yeah. So like if you like Home Alone and it's like this good, nice little childhood memory and you would like a bit of a grown up version of it,
I'm sold.
Watch Violent Night. Sorry, that's my. They did not pay me to say that.
No. They totally did. They paid her to say. They did not pay me to say that.
Anyways, there we go.
Well, you guys go check out Will Vinton's A Claymation Easter, and that's actually what we're going to talk about today. So, A Claymation Easter opens with. So this episode, it's kind of it's a mini classic, I'll say.
Yeah.
It's one that's some of us early fans would like for sure remember. It may not be at the top of the list, but it's concrete. You know what I mean? This one's not going away from the old brain computer.
I think part of it, especially for those of us of a certain age, so probably not people that are like in their 20s right now, but those of us at a certain age, it has like an iconic like a reference to an iconic event that happened, which was Baby Jessica down the well, right?
Yes, yes, exactly.
So it's like I think it lives rent free in a lot of our heads just because we grew up having that have happened within recent years. And
yes, so just to really quickly give you guys, I have a little thanks for that. Good. Here's the segue. This episode's plot is inspired by the media frenzy around baby Jessica McClure in 1987. Jessica, who was 18 months old, fell down a well in Midland, Texas, and was rescued in a highly publicized incident. The episode paralleled the real-life rescue in which an oil worker proposed digging by the well and breaking in at the bottom. So there you go. And oh no, spoiler alert for this 32-year-old Simpsons episode.
I was thinking that as I was saying that. I'm like, is it weird that I'm wondering if anybody has watched this episode? Like,
If you haven't, then you're dead to me. Um, so this episode starts with we've got like Lisa dancing in front of a TV. Homer, I think, considers it provocative. It's really just she's doing the Running Man. She's watching a TV dance show laden with pretty young girls dancing in the very similar way.
very
Homer,
90s, very
yeah,
90s
yes.
music show, music video
Like I got to
vibes.
pause on it right now. There is a girl in a green mini skirt and like a pink tube top with a peace sign belt. Then there is a girl wearing Daisy Dukes with a Daisy belt and like a green, I believe you would call that halter top. And then there's a girl in the background with a black like bikini top on. It is very like very MTV 90s spring break looking. Yes.
Video,
That was a very good
100%.
description, 100%. So, uh Homer's like, "What the heck are you doing?" type shit, and then he sees it and he's like, "Oh, whoa!" And then we see like the reflection of the
As
bouncing butts in his
in it,
eyes.
and it's in his drool. It's in his
Yeah,
drool.
yes. So Lisa, like clearly knows that Homer wants the TV, so she asks, "Dad, can I have some money to buy Bart a birthday present?" Money, Dad. This is $110. Oh, sorry. And gives her just the whole wallet. Like right after that, Funky See, Funky Do. We'll be right back with another lip sync and another hits right after this. Funky See,
See,
Funky
funky
Do.
I love that. I love it.
So Lisa leaves to go
Wait,
shopping, and yes,
sorry.
no,
Would it this been just after all the Milli Vanilli stuff? Like, is that? I'm gonna guess that might be where the reference comes from, maybe, or somewhere close. I'm just thinking. Because it's
let's
so
find out.
specific, like it's so specific that it's like funky see, funky do, lip syncing. I'm like, it's so specific, you know.
Funky See, Funky Do. So I think that that lip syncing was in. I think you're probably 89.
So not,
89.
it's
So
a
this would
little
have been
bit
a couple
after.
years after.
Yeah,
Yeah,
it would
89
have
is when
been a thought that people recognize now that not all artists are what we think they are.
Yeah, I was just gonna say, like how every artist is lip syncing now. How some of the world's biggest artists, and I won't mention names because we all know who I'm talking about, just goes ahead and lip syncs like 70%, so she can do a show every night for 5 years straight. Yeah, no, it's totally cool, and people
It's
pay thousands and
to
thousands
listen to a recording. I mean, if you're one of those,
It's a great show, I've heard, and whatever. But
it-
to me, I'm like, I would want the authentic. I would be bummed out by that personally.
I want to hear
I
them
get the
huffing and puffing.
yeah, I want to hear them crack.
Yeah.
I don't want to hear them be bad. I want to hear them
No.
be real.
No, yeah. I want to
Because
hear
I
them
saw
be real.
CKY in October, and they were bad, just bad. Anyway,
I have totally been to concerts where people are like, where you get a second where you're like, are they lip syncing because they're moving around a lot? And then they'll shout out to someone that's close by, and they'll be like, "Hey, you!" in the audience, and you're like, "Oh, that's impressive!"
good
Like,
shit, brother.
yeah, because it's like you're like, "Wow, like that they are moving around a lot, but that is actually them
If
singing."
you've ever
'cause she
seen
just
Panic
said
at the
that.
Disco live, you've never experienced that. You're like, oh well, this is horseshit. So Lisa leaves to go shopping, and another commercial comes on. It's one for I actually think I had a microphone similar to this. I don't know that it transmitted to the radio, but I had it had a speaker in itself
In the
you know?
bottom, right? Like
Yeah,
it's
I
like a
think
little
so.
blowhorn, right? It turns out to be like a little blowhorn.
Yeah, something like that. But Homer is like instantly gobsmacked over it. They sell him on the fact that we got a great big convoy.
Rocking through the night.
I think I know that song best because it played on GTA radio so much in the old days.
I think I know it from pop culture references and and games like GTA.
Yes.
And if
There's
those
a
things
lot of
didn't
things,
exist, I wouldn't know.
a lot of things that like I get like credit in conversation for being culturally relevant about things where I'm like, I learned that from a video game. I learned that from watching YouTube channels about movies. I don't even watch the movies, just the YouTube channels
Just the
about the
YouTube channel.
movies. So Homer's in. He wants to buy it. I like that he calls and he's like, but order now. Supply is limited. Ah, limited? Do you have any of those microphones left? He's in like a giant warehouse just full of them, floor to ceiling. Yeah, a
This
couple.
this totally plays into his, as we've discovered, his addiction to buying as seen on
Yeah,
TV stuff.
it's like not
He
even
has
2
a
episodes
problem.
later. Yeah.
He
He
has
had
a
to slow
problem.
himself down from his fat fingers smashing all over the phone 2 episodes ago or whatever.
He needs to,
Um,
as a support group for don't buy shit you see on TV.
the QVC Anonymous. So we cut to Homer and Marge in bed, and Homer's telling Marge that this time he thinks he's got Bart's love because of the gift he's got him. Basically, like, oh, there's no way he can't love me now. The gift I got is amazing. So we cut to Bart's birthday party, and we see Bart's height on the wall.
I love that it's his hair.
Yes, it's the zigzag. I also love this. As someone who measures my kids on a certain part of the wall every 3 months, because they're in that
Oh,
phase where like they're getting
where they're
taller
just
every.
they're
Yes,
shooting up, right?
for
Yeah.
sure. So since we've lived here every 3 months, and it's wild to see their growth, I personally loved that scene.
It touches you
It
in that
does.
way.
Yeah. I'm like, oh, Bart would be like 50 now. Uh, it's true. It's true. The you know
The
That's what we
realness
love
of
about
it.
it. Yeah. I know it hurts my heart a little bit. So Bart's watching
Homer's in
Krusty
his
the
70s.
yeah. Oh! Bart tunes into Krusty the Clown to watch the birthday announcements. Krusty says, "It's time to see the names of the birthday boys and girls." And
Do they
Bart
still do that
watches.
on TV shows? Because I totally remember when they used to do that on kids shows.
I just like don't even watch TV shows. I wouldn't even know.
Oh, yeah, I
And
wouldn't
TV
know
shows, like,
either.
are they even TV shows anymore? Like that's what like I tell my kids. I'm like, we used to have to watch shows like and just like sit through the commercials. And if you missed the show, then you
You missed
missed
it.
it. You fucking had
Especially
to wait for syndication.
Yeah,
Or there were
especially
no
when we were
DVDs coming out.
No, especially when we were kids, because, like, there were some shows that literally, like, when we were young, they never made it to videotape or they never
Yeah.
made it to syndication. So you basically, it showed and then it was
Not
gone
that it never made it to
forever.
syndication, but
Well,
one of
just
my favorite shows of all
many years
time, the
later.
Drew Carey Show, basically was never on DVD. The only way I
No.
could find it was like on those F movies websites, and now those are all gone.
God, I love
So
Drew
I can't
Carey
watch
Show.
the Drew Carey
Sorry,
Show
I just
No, I'm
new
the same.
podcast. The Drew Carey Show.
Greg had brought it up one time, old co-host of the show, and I was like, dude, I have this website. It's got every fucking show on it. I bet it's there. And it was. So we watched the series together.
Oh, I love
And
that show.
yeah, oh, so good. And then so every now and again I'd go back to it and watch it a little bit, and now it's gone forever. Thanks, Congress. So we see this. If you guys don't remember, back in the day, they would roll people's, so like maybe your local news might do it, things like that. But like, they put your name on the screen for TV. It feels great. This is like a list of 70 names. I had it and I was like, I'm going to read all these, but I decided to skip it. There's so many names.
It scrolls so fast too. Like
Yeah,
it's
and
such a zoom. It's
my
such a
favorite
zoom.
part is that like, it wasn't that like Marge and Homer sent it in. Bart goes, wow, best $8 I ever spent. Like Bart bought it himself. So Marge pops in and tells Bart that Grandpa's on the phone to wish him a happy birthday, and Bart's like, "Oh, how sweet! Take a message." So he's got 46 coupons for birthday goodies and discounts, and he heads out. His first stop is at Phineas Q Butterfats, where the clerk gives him the tiniest little sundae of all time, and what does he say? Like, take it and leave.
It's like a thimble. It's like a thimble of ice cream. But
Yes.
I do remember when more places used to do stuff like that,
Oh,
like
yeah.
and you're starting to see it come back around a little bit, but I don't think on the scale. Like I remember there used to be so many restaurants, like you could eat for like 2 days, because some of them too would be like come in on the day before or after your birthday, we'll still give you your free meal. And you're like, yeah, hook me up.
Things were just different back then. I remember
I
on
know.
Tuesdays, we would go to a restaurant called Lions because kids ate for free. And my
Oh yeah,
parents
all the
were
kids
like,
eat
"Oh
for
hell
freeze.
yeah." Okay, so
Yeah.
he gets this tiny little thing that I'm watching it here on the side. He says he didn't get out. And then the next place he goes is to Jake's for a unisex haircut. He's like, digital audio tapes. What did he say? Like, when I was a kid, we had compact discs and we didn't complain about it.
Do you think he knew how relevant that would be?
Oh
That
man.
statement would become.
Oh man. So where's he go next? He
Downloads.
goes to his free tango lesson.
I love the
And I
tango
love that
lesson.
he's like up to her waist. She throws his leg up and it's like over his shoulder.
And I
Um,
love that she's, like, in love with him too. Like, she is like, the way she talks when she does talk
Farewell,
is just
Senor
like
Bart.
yeah, it's
Yeah.
like this "You are a stud even though you're
Yeah,
10."
because he's got to leave early too. He's got a birthday party to go to. A Wally Weasels. We cram fun down your throat. Uh, so Bart arrives at the party, busies himself playing Larry the Looter. Did you know that Larry the Looter was actually made into its own Flash game by Gumpy Function with similar graphics and the entire beginning recreated? The only difference being that it is now possible to actually evade the shopkeeper shotgun round as well as kill him. So Larry the Looter is a real Flash game that I don't know if you could still play it, but at one point by Gumpy Function, you could.
That is cool. I like
Yeah.
that. I like that.
Other games we see in the background of the arcade are Time Waster, Coffee
Yep.
Fiend, Touch of
I wanna
Death,
I wanna
and
play
Comic
Coffee
Shop.
Fiend. Yes,
Yeah.
I wanna
I'm
play
playing Coffee
Coffee
Fiend
Fiend
right now.
so bad. I know, right? That game sounds like a vibe.
And I'm here for it. Let's hold space for that. I think that's what they're saying now.
Yeah. The one thing I do like about this phase in The Simpsons is that every time Bart has a party, he's also like such a party host. Like he's like, "How you doing over
He's
there?
a
Hey, how's it
schmoozer for
going?" You know,
sure. I
every
also love
time,
that Nelson is like his biggest bully, but is at all of Bart's events
all of them.
because
I
he's
like
up there doing the
all
old
of them.
cheat and skee ball basket drop, as
It's
Nelson would do.
as he would, as he would. But yeah, I love how he's always like a schmoozer at this point. You know, he's never.
Yes.
I think that's the other thing too is like in these early episodes, Bart is very kind of quote unquote cool in a lot of situations, right? Like he's just like I'm very Ferris Bueller, right? He still
Yeah,
has that.
he
He has
almost jumped the Springfield Gorge. So,
yeah,
I mean,
yeah.
you
He has a
that doesn't
very
tell you
Ferris.
anything.
To me, Bart always has had a very Ferris Bueller vibe, right? Like he's a
I think
scamp,
that's perfectly accurate. He's a
but kind of
scamp. I
cool,
like it. Yeah,
you know.
Dennis the Menace.
With yeah, and
Yeah.
anyways, so yeah, so he plays Larry the Looter. That was my ramble. Sorry.
Yeah, I believe somebody at some point makes fun of Bart for having a slingshot and calls him Dennis the Menace in the show.
I think so.
I'm
I
like
feel like
picturing
that's
it,
a
but I
moment that
can't.
happens.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, in just a moment, we see Bart talking with the animatronics. And would you like a birthday song? Hell no. It's your birthday. It's your birthday. It's your birthday, boy or girl.
I love that it says boy or girl. Like, and they're not
Yeah.
because they're not using any pronouns, right? They're
Right.
just like, we're gonna say boy or girl.
Just gotta make sure. I
I
also
do.
love Wally. Do something funny. Hey, later, okay? Yeah, go bug your parents.
I do love how in The Simpsons animatronics always are evil.
Evil animatronics. It's your birthday songs and fires. That's what we're talking about. Animatronics gone awry. We move over to Bart getting his gifts, which I think, as much of a schmoozer as Bart is, he loves to get him some gifts. Bart's first gift is from Selma. It's a label maker.
Who doesn't want
I,
a label
I
maker?
no,
Sorry,
I'm with you. I was actually gonna say if I got a label maker at 10, I would have probably been thrilled, to be perfectly honest.
I would have been like,
Mhm.
everything is gonna have a
Oh, he
label
did.
on
He did.
it. You know?
At the time, not thrilled though. He gets other gifts that he finds equally boring. Homer, remember how excited Homer was to give Bart this gift, everybody.
Yes.
Homer gives Bart the microphone. Bart calls, next. Marge tells him to like be more kind. He's like, next, please. Martin gives Bart a matching jacket and beret identical to the one that Martin is currently wearing.
So I find it interesting because just like with Nelson, Bart and Martin never seem to be like the closest of friends, but he's always at the
More
birthday
presents.
parties. And Martin, yeah, and Martin, I feel like in a lot of times, Martin treats Bart like he's a chum, as Martin would
Yes.
say, you know?
Martin Prince also has one of the best lines in all of Simpsons history when he says, together, separately, we are individual sticks, but together we bundle to form the mighty faggot. Don't cancel me. Look it up, everybody. Bundle of sticks. Thank you very much.
And when we were all children, we all laughed.
Yes. It's all about context, people. It's all about context. So Bart gets back to the house and he's got nothing really good to do. So he busts out the label maker, which Kristen and I said, this is what we would have done if we had the label maker. Goes all the way
On
around the house,
everything.
labeling everything. Oh, there's only one can of beer left. It's Bart's. So Homer.
I like how he doesn't even
just,
question it. It's just
shit.
it's Bart's.
Damn it.
Like,
It's got his name on it and everything. So Homer asks Bart how the microphone is working. Bart points and sees that it's propping the window open. Homer, says, oh, I would have liked a present like that, and shows how it works. It was singing into the squelching microphone. They got a great big convoy running across the land. Convoy. And according, go ahead.
I like it too when he goes to take it to Marge and he does the line from the commercial, like, because in the commercial there's a group of guys that are driving by in a car, some pretty girls, and they're like, "We'll be back to check you out later." And then he goes and does the same thing to Marge. Of course, it's squealing the whole time though because
operator,
he's loud.
Homer Simpson. According to the DVD commentary, the producers originally wanted Homer to sing "The Wreck of the Edmund Fitzgerald" by Gordon Lightfoot right here, rather than "Convoy." John Vitti said the reason Fitzgerald was not used was because Lightfoot had signed over the rights to the song to the families of the 29 people who died on the ship. Using the song on TV would have required obtaining approvals from all 29 families, which was deemed to be too much trouble just to have Homer sing a couple lines from the song. Also, fucking sad song. Why?
That makes sense.
Why would you want that? Yeah, that's exactly. That was my first thought. I was like, Convoy was perfect. Why would you want the wreck of the
it's kind of
Fitzgerald right there? Good song or not?
Convoy's got that jovial.
Not appropriate for the moment. I feel. I'm glad that.
And I feel like with Homer's personality, you're gonna get Convoy from him, or some similarly.
I could have heard him singing.
I don't know, like
down and bound
or something.
Loaded up and trucking.
Yeah, loaded up and trucking.
We gonna do what they say can't be done. Okay, so Bart exclaims it to be what a crappy birthday. Marge comes in and tells him, like, kind of pumps him up. She knows the radio microphone is shitty, but she's trying to sell it as hard as she can. And she tells him, like, hey, look, it's probably not that bad. Maybe just don't scream into like your dad. And she's like, testing 1, 2, 3. Oh my, do I sound like that? Bart's like,
he's so concerned about it too. Like the look on her face is like,
but
oh,
you know what's
God.
funny is like I thought of this, like think about like 1992. There weren't a lot of ways like people were hearing their own voices back then. Like it would be like you recorded your answering machine, maybe, and
yeah. Well, I mean, if you were really clever, you got one of those answering machine tapes that had the stories on them. Do you remember when people used to have those? Like you call somebody's house and instead of them being like, leave a message, it would be like a story, like some kind of like pre-recorded
I mean,
story.
I would always like do my own for my family, but never that.
My uncle always bought them, and I'd seen them in stores, but like, and they would tell you like a story,
fantastic.
and at the end of it, and it would always have like a joke in it, right? Like I remember, I specifically remember one where the end of it was like it's a dog eat dog rolled out there, and you got milk bone shorts on or whatever. It was like one of those jokes, And I remember, but when the story first started, it sounded like a mystery, like you were in a noir.
I just imagine you calling like you broke your big toe and you just need to ride home. And you're like, Mom, come on, the fucking stories.
But people used to, but like I think that was I don't think people do this with voicemail. But remember, like, there was a time where like your answering machine, you wanted it to like say so, and like it was like that with voicemail for a while too.
Say,
but like you wanted
for
your
a very long
to say
time
so much.
Was the Anchorman part where he's all drunk and answers the phone and he's like, "Is Will Chamberlain?
Yeah,
Baxter, bark twice if you're in Milwaukee." Yeah. Like that was my first 7 or 8 years right? Until like I switched and it went away and I was like, I'm not gonna re-record it.
Well, it's like on Seinfeld where George, George isn't at home.
Yeah.
Leave a message.
Believe it or not, George isn't at home. Leave a message at the beep.
I must be out or I'd answer the phone. Where could I be?
I will give you a shortened version because at my house for the longest time, it was me going na 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 not home na 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 can't answer the phone. Yeah, we did. I had that one for a while.
That's great.
Yeah.
That's great.
Um,
Back in the
yeah,
golden
exactly.
age.
Now it's like the number you have called 5.
Yeah, there's no personality anymore. But back in the
Exactly.
day, your answering machine said a lot
We knew who
about
you
you.
were without having to know who you are, you know?
One of my friends had the whole Gozer the Grozarian
So
speech on his answering machine.
are you the gatekeeper? Uh, so Bart agrees now. The microphone is a good gift. He's going to utilize it. Homer opens the freezer to pull out a box of Neapolitan ice cream. This is probably one of the.
This is me. This is me. Yeah. I'm always like, when there's Neapolitan ice cream and it's like sectioned off, like because some of them they'll do the
Right.
swirl, right? Like it will be like a
But
bit
this
of a
is a
swirl.
3-block
You can't
Neapolitan.
when it's a 3 block, I'll eat the blocks all in separate parts. And if the block part is missing that I wanted, I'm like, nope, need new ice cream. Like I'm not
And
eating
that's
the rest
exactly
of
what
it.
Homer does. I
Need
think he
new ice
opens
cream.
2 boxes of Neapolitan to see that the chocolate's gone. And he yells up to Marge, "We need more vanilla chocolate and strawberry ice cream." And just then the radio crackles, "People of Earth, this is Bartron, commander of the Martian invasion force. Your planet is in our hands. Resistance is useless." And what's funny about this is in an early short called Space Patrol that aired on the Tracy Ullman Show, which most of you should know by now. That's where The Simpsons originated as shorts on the Tracy Ullman Show. This shows
Yep.
Bart, Lisa, and Maggie playing a make-believe game of Space Patrol, where Lisa puts a vase over Bart's head, calling him Bartron, an evil robot from Mars gone berserk. So it's callback. Fun callback.
Nice.
Originally, after
Good
that,
callback.
or only after he fetches a shotgun, does Homer realize that it's Bart. And let me give you another fun fact about this. They had to change Homer's reaction here because originally, after the panic, Homer is seen mixing a punch bowl filled with Kool-Aid and rat poison in the kitchen, and the censors objected to the Suicide Jonestown reference.
Yeah.
Yeah. And
For
Homer
sure.
is
For sure.
we need to check on Homer because we're like in what we're 48 episodes in, and I think Homer has had. I mean, look, this one didn't go to air, but you know, it was there. This is like his 5th serious brush with suicide.
dude, and it's not even a gimmick that goes away because, like, in one of the newer episodes, like, because I know this is in January, but anybody that was following us on TikTok, I know not on TikTok, well, on TikTok, but also on YouTube, I did an advent calendar where every day you got a new Simpsons clip, and the one I just posted the other day, he's trying to
Oh
blow up the
yeah.
Santa, and. And at the end of it, like in the end little bit, he sucks on the exhaust from the car from the car, and Marge has to come out and stop him and be like, "Homer, no." And he's like, "Oh." So it's like this Homer going to suicide as the answer is not even a gag that dies,
Oh my
apparently. It keeps
gosh,
going.
so funny. Yeah, I think the first time was trying to walk into the ocean while holding a boulder. So, uh,
Yeah.
so Homer's
Yeah.
pissed off about this, and we get a classic, "Why you little?" But he stops strangling Bart when he realizes that this means Bart actually loved his gift. He makes Bart promise not to play any more practical jokes, and Bart agrees. Yeah, classic. Marge puts Maggie to bed and removes her pacifier, and as Marge turns to leave, we hear Maggie say, "Mama, Mama." Marge clearly freaks out and discovers the radio that Bart has hidden to trick Marge into thinking that Maggie said her first words.
Yep.
He hides the microphone under Lisa's bed and does it reverse and uses it like as a spy mic to snoop on her conversation with her friends.
That's smart. I also like the Reading Non-Threatening Boys
Yeah.
magazine. Like
Oh my gosh. So Bart spots Rod and Todd sitting in their room listening to the radio. "Rod, Todd, this is God." "How did you get on the radio?" "What do you mean, how did I get on the radio? I created the universe, stupid kid." "Forgive my brother, we believe you. Talk is cheap. Perhaps I'll test guy's faith. Walk through the wall. I will remove it for you." "What do you want from us?" "I got a job for you. Bring forth all the cookies from your kitchen and leave them on the Simpsons porch." "But those cookies belong to our parents." "Ugh." Look, do you want a happy God or a vengeful God? Happy God! Then quit flapping your lip and make with the cookies.
That's totally one of those scenes that when I think of The Simpsons, like, I randomly remember that scene once in a while, and it's because Rod and Todd run
Yes.
into the
Just
wall.
slams right.
Like, it's the
All the faith. Nothing
boom.
but faith out of that rod. So Bart lowers his portable radio on a rope down the well because that seems like a pretty good idea. But he loses his grip, and the radio falls all the way to the bottom. The groundskeeper Willie hears "help, help" coming from the well. Takes a swig from his liquor flask for a little nip of courage, of course, and runs through traffic. Returning to his plow, and Bart yells, "Sucker!" Word travels quickly. Before we know it, Kent Brockman is there. So, it's like boom, news.
Because
Yeah,
Kent's the
exactly.
man. He's
The
always
man on
on
the
the
scene.
scene. He's like, "There's news in Springfield. Let's
Exactly.
go," you know?
Bart identifies himself as Timmy O'Toole, an orphan who was turned away from Springfield Elementary by Principal Skinner because he had shabby clothes. He's lying. Principal Skinner's so mad. They say that the circumference of the well is only 34 inches, so unfortunately, not one member of the city's police force is skinny enough to rescue the boy. I like the whole well, none
I
of us
love
are
that.
ready. Well, what about you, Chief? Yeah, I'm too important. During Kent's report, we see Eddie bring a box of donuts from the food stand, and the other cops are already munching away. Yeah, that's it. Chief Wiggum scolds them in, and when he asks, why doesn't he go down there? I'm too important. Kent explains that Timmy's foot is caught under a rock, so he can't simply pull him up because he could become injured. A falconer gets there, and he's like, I'll fly down, and he'll pull the boy up safely. And he releases the bird, watches it fly away, and says, he's not coming back. And then we get a guy who looks an awfully lot like Quint from Jaws. He shows a fish hook and a bar of
Yes, I
chocolate,
love this.
and that he says that's how he'll catch Bart, and then I'll clean him for free. Oh man! And then we get Professor Frink. Although we can't reach the boy, we can freeze him with liquid nitrogen so that future generations can rescue him. Yep, that's Frank's plan. The Simpsons sit on the couch.
I love Frank.
Metal trays set up in front of them. They're not eating at the dining table. They generally eat at the dining table. I will say we don't get the TV trays a lot.
No, we don't, but I feel like because there is that feeling, like, with the Jessica down the well thing where it's like people were glued for
Yeah,
any
yeah.
news updates and stuff, right? So, I get the feeling that this tonight, they're eating in front of the TV just because there might be an update on that
It
poor
is
little
true.
Timmy
The Simpsons
O'Toole
find out about it by
stuck at
seeing a
the
mob
bottom.
running down Evergreen Terrace. And they're like, what's going
Yeah.
on? A little boy's down the well, Jasper Beardsley says.
Yeah. So I think they're just keeping they're being vigilant, right? Like, they're keeping
100%.
vigilant, over the
We can't do
situation.
anything, but we're going to stay informed, damn it. So they sit there eating their
Yeah.
TV dinners. Dear Lord, before we peel the foil back from your bounty, Marge asks the Lord to keep an eye on Timmy, and Bart laughs.
I feel like Marge doesn't use a lot of pre-prepared
Yeah, and
food a
and
lot
I
of the
think that
times either.
just
Like,
I think
she
that
seems to
just
cook a lot.
goes to further strengthen your point. Is that it's like
Yeah, yeah,
I
like,
need to
it's
be
like
watching.
the times
Yep.
are stressful. Yeah, we need to watch this time, like, something very important's happening in our neighborhood, and the fact that, like, that's the first thing that comes into her mind, and, like, that's the conversation revolves around at dinner time
Yes.
tonight is revolving around poor little Timmy
Mhm.
O'Toole, right?
Homer says that Timmy is a real hero, and Lisa asks, "How do you mean?" And Homer says, "Well, he fell down a well and he can't get out." And how does that make him a hero? Well, it's more than you did. Krusty the Clown has gathered a bunch of his friends from around Hollywood and the entertainment world. And all of these people normally steer clear of fashionable causes. Kent Brockman interviews Krusty about the new project and a video called "We're Sending Our Love Down the Well."
I
I
love
called my
it.
good friend
I love it.
Sting. He said, "Krusty, when do you need me?" I said, "Thursday." He said, "I'm busy Thursday." "What about Friday?" He said, "Friday's worse than Thursday." And I said, "How about Saturday?" I said, "Fine." True story. Yeah. So, this is like the "We Are the World" thing, right? Like, Yeah.
I was gonna say it's a callback to We Are the World and all those types
That's
of
probably the
songs
most
like that, right?
famous
Because there
one
was
though, right? Is it?
yeah. Oh, yeah. Like, well, there's that one that band that other one about Christmas. There's a
Oh,
Christmas
okay.
one too, right? Like, I can't
We
remember what
are
that
the
I do
world,
know what
we
it's
are the
called,
people.
and there are people that are gonna be sitting there listening to this and be like, "How does she not know the name of the Christmas song right now?" I know it. I just my mind is blanking. It's only 10 AM,
It's the
okay?
Christmas
But
season, Kristen. Your name is Kristen.
I know. But I feel like, especially, like, in in the 80s and 90s here, like, all those, like, big super, like, I'm gonna call them a super group because for the one night, they are a super group. It was like, "We're doing this charity song," and in reality, now we're sitting here in the year 2024 being like or 2025, depending on when you're listening to this, going, "Yeah, those are all just promotional, they make more money in marketing than anything." But anyways, that's the skeptic
So
in
I've
me
got I've got
nowadays, but
a freeze frame on who we could see in the choir, and it looks like we've got Troy McClure, Sting, Sideshow Mel, um, Rainier Wolfcastle. I do not recognize this blonde woman. Bleeding Gums Murphy, uh, Marvin Monroe, the doctor, who I could not have a good voice. There's just no way.
no.
The Evil Knievel, I can't remember his name, but I mean, it looks like
But he's from the part where
yes,
Bart
yes,
tries to jump
exactly.
the
Yes,
gorge.
he's the one who like got put in the hospital jumping over the alligators. Uh, Mayor
Yes.
Quimby, Krusty. I cannot remember the mascot's name, but we all can picture him, the yellow guy with the isotopes. Yeah, yep, yep,
With the
yep,
like,
yep,
the
yep.
horn nose
I don't
and
know
stuff.
who it is in the
The whatever
upper right hand
goofball.
corner, and then it's the belly dancing lady. We see her not belly dancing with the high ponytail. I can't remember her name, but she's in there as well.
I love how in the first few seasons, she
Yep,
just
yep, yep,
randomly
yep.
appears and it's like she is a superstar in like, in Springfield, she's a
Homer
prominent
should have never been dancing with her. He knew.
character.
So
No,
the
no.
producers approached Bruce Springsteen to appear on this episode as well because he had appeared in We Are the World. And so he was basically like, "Oh, come on, we'll get you in there, Bruce Springsteen, you and Sting." But he said no. So just Sting, just Sting.
I wonder if he would do it
I don't know.
nowadays.
Let's call him.
Like, because Simpsons was only, like, in its 3rd
Sure, sure,
year, like,
sure.
nobody knew like, I'm sure nobody knew
Or
it would
did it
become like this,
have
like,
we
r
missed the ship? Now he's like, well, maybe season 8 Simpsons.
yeah, yeah, like 8 or 9, maybe
37
10,
though.
but, but nobody knew how long and
Oh,
how
sure.
like, at the time, they were, like, an icon, but, like, nobody knew that that would be, like, a lasting power that would I certainly did not think this show would
Oh no,
still
and
be
I
making new
it feels like, and
episodes.
it's not exactly a main character, but it feels like our latest departure of Pamela is really a signifier of the beginning of the end. And I hate to be that
Yeah,
guy, but
because
it really feels like that's where it's heading. It can't go on
I'm
much
sure
longer.
s
Julie
no,
Kavanaugh's voice is
and do you
trashed. Can you imagine doing
yeah,
this
yeah.
for 10 hours every recording session for the last 37 years?
Right, right, and, like you gotta imagine I know that for them, it's probably not I imagine it's a pretty easy gig for some of them, in that, like, they're like, "Okay, we're gonna go in, we're gonna record really hard and long for this many months, but then I'm gonna have all this
Yeah.
other time." I imagine that part of it is but I imagine that part of it is what has let it go on so long too, right? Is that, like, um, it was like a steady gig that could just you go and you do your really hard work, but then you probably have time for some other little projects too, and
Oh, I
you
was gonna
see some
say
of them
Hank
pop up in
Azaria is
little
all over
extra
the place.
projects. Yeah, yeah, so, I mean but they are all getting older. Mind you, I feel not 20 years ago maybe, but at least, like, 10 or 15 years ago, we were having the same conversations
Oh,
that, like, people like,
because
all
yeah,
Simpsons fans were like,
Marsha
"They gotta be
Wallace
getting
passed
old, like, it must"
away, and yeah,
Yeah. And everyone's like, "It's gotta be ending soon." But I do like that they don't often replace characters or recast them. They treat I think in that way, they know that Simpsons fans are gonna be like, "That is not Homer's
right,
voice.
right,
Get out
yeah, like
get
Rick
outta
and
here."
Morty
You know?
recast, and I mean, I can't even really tell the difference. Yeah,
You can't tell the difference, right? But I think these voices, we're so used to hearing them, and they're so iconic at this point that it's just like, you know,
100%.
let it like, part of you says, "Let it go," as the
It's
characters
it's the same
retire or
way in that I've
whatever,
heard
let
a
it go.
thousand great Homer impressions, but I've never heard someone sound just like Homer. It's always like, "Yeah, that
Yeah,
was a really
yeah,
good
and it's
impression
usually
of
when they
Homer. Yeah, really good."
yeah, yeah, and it's usually they're doing some iconic line or a dough or something that's really, like, got a lot of Homer's inflections in them, and that's what makes you think, "That's a good impression of Homer." But if you had to listen to that for
Yeah,
25 minutes, you'd be like, "No, that's not Homer. Go away."
I can't do it. So, um, it's
Anyways,
so Kent is interviewing Sting and Krusty. Then we see the resulting video. Kent asks Krusty what he's going to do with the royalties. Krusty explains that first they have to pay for promotion, shipping, distribution, the limos they rented, whatever's
yeah,
left over, they'll throw down the well. The field around the well is turned, yeah, it's
appropriate.
turned into a Timmy O'Toole amusement park at this point. It's like there's stands set up, there are vendors. It's like the whole 9 yards.
I think this is so typical of the '90s too, to take a joke like this far, because that's what we all thought we are starting to think of commercialism at that
Yes.
point, right? Like, as a society, it's like, "Oh god, yeah, no, they turned this into a spectacle." It's a money
And here
maker
we are,
now,
and
it's not some
here we are
tragedy,
now.
it's a money maker, and now we just expect it. We're like, "Oh, look, something horrible's happening. Where's the, like, commemoratives, and where's this, and where's that? Because 'Cause you're just waiting for it
Are they
now,
gonna make a
right?
gold coin
You're
of this?
prepared for it. Yeah, yeah, like, you know, "Oh, can I buy dirt from where it
Oh
happened?" Stuff
gosh.
like that, right? Like, it's
I hate
such a
that so
thing
much.
now. Anyway.
The field around the well, it's blowing up. Lisa's watching another ridiculously violent, itchy and scratchy cartoon because that's just the way that they are. This
'Cause it's
one with a
awesome.
well
'Cause it's
theme,
awesome.
and it's dedicated to Timmy O'Toole, and it's called Cat Splat Fever. Meanwhile, while she's watching it, Santa's little helper has gotten his hands on Bart's microphone, and the growls emerge from the well on TV. This leads Lisa to realize that it's Bart. The cartoon gets interrupted by a special report when Kent asks Dr. Marvin Monroe for an explanation. Monroe explains that the child is returning to a feral stage. He shows an artist's conception of what looks to be just a young wolf man, which is funny because it's not in Bart's
Yeah, I
clothes.
love
It's in
it.
like a Timmy O'Toole thing, but there was a Universal Simpsons Funko crossover. So I have a
Yeah.
Wolfman Bart.
Yeah, I love
Yeah.
that one. I
So
do love it.
so I
I
mean,
do
I'm
love it.
looking and it's close. It's close conception. Yeah,
It is
yeah,
close,
yeah.
it is close. It's like they took some inspiration from that
Yes,
drawing
exactly.
to make that
So
Funko.
Lisa sees Bart struggling to recover the microphone and puts two and two together. Bart finally gets the mic and explains in his Timmy voice that he was trying to chew his foot off, and then he goes, and then he just falls asleep. Uh, um, Lisa tells,
It's like, "I'm resting
yes,
now."
Lisa tells Bart that when the townspeople realize that what he's done, they're going to want to kill him. And Bart's like, well, how are they going to find out? And Lisa says, I bet you were stupid enough to have left the property of Bart Simpson label on that radio. And we kind of see the camera pan out of their house down the well. And that's exactly what Bart has done. And then we get from Bart. So that evening, yes,
Family
there are two
trait.
cops. I think it's Eddie and Lou, if I'm not mistaken, are
Yeah,
there.
yeah,
They're
it's Eddie and
reading.
Lou.
These are our most consistent cops throughout the Simpsons years. We see some
They are.
background cops in this one that you'll literally never see again. But Eddie and Lou are there reading Cinderella down the well for Timmy. And then they go for a coffee
Yeah.
break. And while they're gone, Bart ties a rope to a tree stump and rappels down the well. Just saying, if there are two cops, it seems like one would stay behind and the other one would go get coffee.
Well, and I feel like in reality, there would be, like, always a medical team there too, because I think that's what they did at when Baby Jessica went down, there
We
was always
probably
a
shouldn't look
medical
too much
team
into it, but
there. No, we shouldn't, but I feel like if they did no, but here's my greater point. I feel like if they did this episode nowadays, they would have tried to include little details like that because they've
Yeah, oh
gotten
yeah, yeah.
keen at doing that stuff
100%.
over the years.
They know. Plus, the animation is like all digital now too, so they're kind of doing their. You know what? Something else that bugged me about this too is when Eddie and Lou leave to get coffee, they break the police tape around the.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was just like, that's weird. Anyway.
It's like, "Why are you destroying the police
Yeah,
tape, guys?
exactly. Come on, you
Why are
guys
you
could just
doing
have
that?"
an unlimited amount of this. So
I mean, I think there is an episode where Police Chief Wingham actually says they kind of have a ton of
well, there we go.
this
See,
stuff. I like when they're doing something, he's like, "Use this," and we've got a ton of it. But
so
anyway,
while they're gone, Bart ties a tree to or a rope to a tree stump and rappels down the well. During this sequence, the song from Beverly Hills Cop plays, or a very similar cover. Yeah,
similar.
I mean, it's like if it
Yeah,
is, it's like one note off because I thought it was the song, but I don't. I'm not sure exactly.
right.
The cops return and Eddie says, "Hey, I almost tripped over this thing."
Oh,
Yes.
sorry. This is where we get. It doesn't happen. It happens more in the earlier seasons, and as we go on, it doesn't happen so much. But there's an inconsistency here because in the scene before, there's 4 posts, and Lou only breaks the tape on one side of the 4 posted
Yeah.
tape off area. And when we come back, the
Oh yeah,
posts
and
are gone, and there's no tape
what's
on the
funny
ground.
is
It's
I'm
just
watching
the
it, and
rope.
if you look, so as Bart goes, the tape that they broke isn't there. There are 4 posts, and that tape is gone. So it's got 3 sides, and then you're right. He goes down, and 5 seconds later, it cuts back to Eddie and Lou. There are no posts, no ropes. You're right. Yeah, yeah,
No
yeah.
tape. Yeah. It doesn't happen very like, it happens once in a while in the older episodes, but as we go on, that happens less and less, so I just
Good,
thought it was
good,
a fun
good call out. Yeah, yeah.
inconsistency to point out.
So Bart falls down when Eddie pulls the rope off that he almost tripped over, and what happens to him is what happened to Timmy O'Toole before that, and he gets a rock that lands on his leg, pinning him. Bart yells for help, admits that it was a practical joke, and the cops are like, "Oh, you like pranks? Well, we're gonna show you a prank," and they leave. The 2 cops tell Homer and Marge that Bart is trapped down the well. Homer and Marge pay a visit to the well, which has drawn a small crowd. "Don't worry, son. Just because you're trapped in a hole doesn't mean you can't live a rich and full life." And Homer tosses down Bart's Krusty doll, which hits Bart in the head. "Knock it off, you bald boob." Uh, "Hey, don't make me come down there." Chief Wiggum says they've located a piece of machinery in Shreveport, Louisiana, but there's no room in the budget to bring it to Springfield. "Your boy picked a bad time to fall down a well. If he'd done it at the start of the fiscal year, no problemo." And Marge is like, "Oh, well, the people won't chip in to pay for my boy to get out." I'm like, well, if it had been Timmy, maybe. But honestly, when I say like,
Yeah,
your son's
yeah.
ruffled some feathers, something like that.
Yeah, yeah. I love how it depends on the fiscal
Right,
part
right,
of the
right.
year about whether or not they can rescue someone, and that feels like such a Springfield thing, doesn't it? Like, it feels like no matter what tragedy would happen, it was like a hurricane could be coming, and they'd be like, "Well, we can't do anything to help people because we're at the
Yeah.
end of the fiscal
And I
year."
believe, if I'm not mistaken, Chief Wiggum's hair, while it might be blue, is very dark in this episode. He's got some very, very dark,
Yeah.
looks black hair.
It almost looks black in some scenes. I think in, like, some scenes it's like you can see the hue of blue, but, like, it's
Yeah.
almost black in it. Yeah,
So we jump to
for
Kent
sure.
interviewing Homer and Marge, and the time has come for finger pointing, and most of them are squarely aimed at the boy's parents. "It's not our fault. We didn't want the boy. He was an accident." Homer! Could you edit that
I
last
love
part
that.
out? "Mr. Simpson, we are live coast to coast." The next morning, girls have already made up a jump rope rhyme about Bart. Lisa tells them to stop, and they do not. But once she's gone, they continue. Casey Kasem and our new #1 hit, "I Do Believe We're Naked" by Funky C. Funky Do, replaces "We're Sending Our Love Down the Well," which plunges all the way down to number 97. That's
Yeah,
my best Casey
yeah.
Kasem.
Oh, I miss Casey
Wasn't he the
Kasem,
voice
okay? I do.
of uh was it Shaggy? Yeah, he did. Yeah,
Shaggy,
okay, that's what I thought.
yeah. And he used to appear randomly in some movies and
What a
TV
guy.
shows and
What
stuff
a
like
guy.
that. He's a
Even
guy.
I remember hearing
Yeah.
Casey Kasem countdowns, and I like never seeked them out ever once in my life.
Well, you know what? And you know what? And that's like Dick Clark, right? Like everybody knows Dick Clark's rocking New
And if you
Year's
didn't know
Eve.
him from that, where are you living? Were you under a rock?
Right, and and I remember, like, because there was a time, obviously, because he lived a very long like, he had a very long life, and he was very active most of
Apparently,
that
the
life.
secret is to be named
Um
Dick because Dick Van Dyke's doing the damn thing right now.
oh my god, he just did a video with Coldplay or whatever where he sings and dances in the video. He's 99.
I love it. Not to go on too much of a tangent, but I saw a video of him yesterday where he was like, "I am acutely aware that I could go any day, and although it seems counterintuitive, I'm not afraid." I was like, "Man, that's
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
powerful, Dick."
But that's probably what's keeping him alive. I watched an interview with him once where he's talking they're like, "What do you do for exercise?" He's like, "I dance when I go grocery shopping. I dance up and down the aisles." Like, obviously that guy's just got a like, and it wasn't like he didn't like, he'll admit he was an alcoholic for
Mhm.
many years and he was a heavy smoker for many years and
Can
he's
you
just like,
imagine?
"Now I take
Can you
care of
imagine
myself."
walking down the grocery store and seeing and hearing
Oh
chim
god,
chimney, chim chimney, chim chim charoo in just the worst
I would
Cockney accent
die.
that anyone has ever done in their entire life?
I would just die with happiness. I would just die with happiness. I'd be
That
like,
that's
"Yes,"
that's my
but
favorite part is
anyways.
that they were like, "Can you do just the worst Cockney accent ever?" And he's like, "Kind of ever." And they were like, "Perfect, go."
I know, right? Uh, Dick Clark used to appear in things randomly too, like little spots in movies if they were trying to show a bunch of
Man,
pop
imagine
culture
just being such
things,
a
and
good like piece of pop culture that when they need to reference pop culture, they just grab you.
yeah, right, right, and some of that lives on now even today, like, even though just because you recognize that sound, like that DJ sound, we all kn like the
Yeah, yeah,
Casey
yeah.
Kasem DJ voice, and we all know Dick Clark used to like, he's one of the reasons why you get those, like, dance shows and things like that, and like, Soul Train and his, and it's just like they're like it's almost like they're just forever references now, like, they're just so deep in movies and in TV shows that they just kinda at least their essence still kinda lives
100%.
on, even if you don't know why that's the reference, it's like, that is the
Imagine,
reference, like,
imagine being
you
a
know,
part of like
you
the
recognize it,
lexicon. That's all
right?
any of us ever want is to be
Craziness.
remembered. And
Bef
damn.
as the voice of Shaggy. Anyway,
Like zoink Scoob. So the real benefits of all of this happening, Funky See, Funky Do. They got the number one song on the charts.
yes.
Um, so,
So funky see,
so
funky do.
we see Mayor Quimby at a press conference, and ever since I called for the rescue of that Simpson lad, I've taken a lot of heat. So I'm flip flopping. I say, let him stay down there. Uh, roving reporter Dave Shutton composes his story. Town to well boy. No more free food. But then he gets a hot lead and said, "That is a hot lead," and speeds off. Like the well story's dead. Nobody cares anymore. Even the roving reporters got
Yeah,
some new
because that
stories to
was
do. Um,
yeah, it was just some little
yeah,
prankster. Screw
and the new
him, you
headline
know?
that takes over is "Squirrel resembling Abraham Lincoln found," and that's not the last time we're going to hear
Yeah.
about that squirrel,
Yeah.
unfortunately. Homer,
No, no, he
Homer and
comes back.
Marge
He's like a
pay a
reoccurring
late night
character.
visit to the well, and Marge says, "Bart, honey, I made you an extra warm sweater. You can wear while you're down there." "Mom, it's too big." "Don't worry, you'll grow into it."
I love how she makes it big with the assumption
Yes,
he is going
yes,
to be
yes.
down there forever.
I've done a lot of bad stuff through the years. I guess now I'm paying the price. But there's so many things I'll never get a chance to do. Smoke a cigarette, use a fake ID, shave a swear word in my hair. I love that it's like he's just these terrible things a 10-year-old should not be thinking about. Those are like, man, I'm not gonna get to do these things.
Those are his
Uh,
life goals. Those are his
Once
you know?
upon hearing Bart crying, and this is probably would be the reaction of any parent. Like you would do anything to take your kid's pain away. Homer's had enough. He grabs a shovel and just starts digging. Um,
Like, even if it seems futile,
Hundred
you're gonna
percent,
try
100%.
something,
I'll tell you a
right? Like,
quick 10-second story. I went to the movie theater with my
okay.
kid to see Beetlejuice, and this dumbass got stuck in the movie chair, like slid down it. And at one point, she said, "Dad, I can't breathe," and I started trying to rip that fucking chair in half. I'm not kidding. And she was just panicking. But when your kid
Yeah,
says,
yeah,
"I
yeah.
can't breathe," and she's pinned in something,
You
I was like, "I will rip this fucking chair out of the floor right now."
you you did what a parent's
Yes.
supposed to do. So, quick 10-second story. When I was a kid, okay, I was teetering on the edge of a bucket, like, because I'm a smart ass kid. I'm gonna sit with my butt on the edge of the bucket. I leaned back a little bit and then slid down into the bucket. Like, it was like
Oh,
one of
yeah.
those tall buckets, you know? I slid down into it. My parents stood there and laughed, even when I said I couldn't breathe. They
Aw,
were dying with
man.
laughter. I mean, obviously, I could they
Right,
knew I
right.
wasn't dying, right? They knew I could breathe, but they
It was
were
dark.
dying with
It
until
was
I started
dark. I was
when I
panicking.
started to, like,
Yeah,
really cry.
100%. So,
Yeah.
yes.
When I started to really cry, like, when tears actually started coming down my face, that's when they helped pull the bucket off, but
They're
until
like, "Oh,
that
shit."
point, they were killing
Yeah.
themselves
Yeah.
laughing.
I guess I didn't have any
No, but
time to laugh
yes.
about it, and neither did Homer. He jumps right in. Marge goes and grabs a wheelbarrow to haul away dirt. Groundskeeper Willie says, "Now, why didn't I think of that?" and tears off his shirt. I think this is,
I
I
love
think
every
this is the
time.
first time
He's
we
so
see it. I think
muscular.
this might be the because yeah, from
Yeah.
now on, it's like a running joke that Ned Flanders and Groundskeeper Willie
He's
are
just
both ripped.
and are just
Stupid,
ripped as
sexy
shit, like they could
Flanders.
be
Yeah, I
bodybuilders.
in
Yeah,
my when I
yeah.
did Twitch that I had the lunch lady Doris, do you have any grease? Yes, yes we do.
Yes,
Then
yes.
grease me up. Okie dokie. Um,
Just
so
ripped
he
as
comes,
shit,
he helps
yeah.
him with a shovel. Another guy just appears out of nowhere with a pickaxe. Kent Brockman interrupts with a special bulletin that the Lincoln squirrel has been assassinated. Um, they are going to stay with that story all night if they have to. Pretty soon the entire town has joined the digging effort, and so like I think the funny part is like everybody's in, and it's finally like the story's back, but Kent Brockman's like, nope, we're staying with the Abraham Lincoln squirrel all night. uh
I also love that when it's like when the Simpsons find like when Lisa finds out about about them trying to save Bart again is when everyone starts running past their
yes,
house
another
with
mob has
shovels and stuff
formed.
like at yeah, like at this time, but I like it when she asks Jasper, like when she shouts what's going on. Jasper's like, "It's a hole digging party or whatever,
Oh
good old
yeah,
fashioned
yeah, yeah.
fashioned hole digging." Not even we're gonna save that boy. It's a hole
What's going
digging.
on? It's an old
Yeah,
fashioned hole digging. By gar, it's been a
yeah.
while.
I love that. That yeah, I love that for
Yeah,
him.
yeah,
It's not
yeah.
even about saving someone.
Just an
They're
old
just gonna
fashioned
dig
one.
a hole.
We get a classic Simpsons gag right here where they pan out and show either like the profile, like the cut in half of a house, or But this one we see that they've dug around a dinosaur skeleton, a treasure chest, and a flying saucer with what looks like one of Kang or Kodos's relatives. Yeah, yeah,
Skeletons.
yeah.
Yeah,
Apu discovers a dead canary, and everybody rushes out in a panic. In case most people probably know by now, but miners used to take canaries into mines because they have a super sensitive respiratory system. So if get like very minute numbers of gases would kill a canary. So if you took a canary down into a mine, your canary died, you knew to get the fuck out of that mine. So
yeah. Like that was their high tech
yes,
equiment for
yes.
saving themselves was a little canary because they didn't have anything to
I
measure
learned about that
gases
because
back
of a
then.
Fallout Boy song.
Oh,
Yeah,
no, that
yeah,
totally
yeah,
makes
yeah.
sense. That totally
I
makes
was like,
sense.
why is he saying you're a canary, I'm a coal mine? And I looked it up, and
I think I first learned about it when, I w I remember when I was a kid, there was some song came out, I think it was a Rita McNeil song that was, like, in memory of a bunch of, coal miners and stuff, so my grandma talked to me about, like my grandma was the one who kinda taught me about the canary and the coal
yeah.
mine and, like, just, like, all that stuff, for some reason, the conversation became more than, and she's just like, "Oh, and did you know that back in the day, they used to take" like, that's how I learned about it. It was just a
She was just a
random
coal miner's
stuff.
daughter. So Dr. Hibbert, they go up to the top, and Dr. Hibbert concludes that the canary had actually just died of natural causes. Back in the hole! Sting's down there shoveling super hard. Marge tells Sting that he looks tired and maybe he should take a rest. And Sting's like, not while one of my fans needs me. And Marge is,
Really
yes,
sting, like we discussed before, and not a
yes,
fake
a
sting
very
like
fake
we
sounding Sting at
assumed.
least. Marge says, actually, I don't know if he ever heard Bart play one of your albums. And Homer, shh, he's a good digger. Once Sting breaks through, Homer and Marge push him out of the way because Bart's like, Sting! And then,
He's so happy to see
yeah.
Sting too. It's like that was the best way
Yep.
person that could have saved him was Sting.
Homer tells Bart, don't worry, son. They're going to make sure no one ever falls down this well again. And after that, we see the field restored to its former glory. Nice, clean grass. Groundskeeper Willie walking up to hammer into the ground about 30 feet from the well a small sign that reads, Caution, well. And he says, that should do it. and of course, we get a. So it's a fantastic little episode.
Full of pop culture, that one. Like, there's just lots of pop
100,
culture things happening.
110% it is. I don't have any extra notes about it, so I say we just rate it, unless it looks like maybe you do.
I do. Who's our character
Oh,
profile for this episode? I'm on top of it
I
today.
wonder who it is. I didn't use this book this week, so in this episode, our character profile is Groundskeeper Willie. His occupation is a thickly accented Springfield Elementary maintenance man and groundskeeper. He's Scottish. His hair is red and shaggy. His eyebrows are red and even shaggier. His physique is muscular bodybuilder. His attitude is surly, particularly when confronted by Principal Skinner. And he carries a flask of liquid courage. His favorite problem-solving device is a 12-gauge shotgun. That is
There we
your
go. There we
Groundskeeper
go.
Willie Simpsons World Ultimate Simpsons Episode Guide Character Profile for Episode 48. Thank you for reminding me.
Very nice.
With
You're
that
welcome.
being said, would you like to rate this thing?
I guess so. I suppose so. I like this episode. This is one of those episodes that kind of live like a lot of parts of it kind of live rent free in my head. Like they've just always been there. Like I have never forgotten that the whole we're sending our love down the well. And I think I actually even to this day randomly hum it just like it will just pop into my head. And like, obviously not all the things about the like, when I watched some of it, I went to this week or whatever, I was like, "Oh, yeah, I forgot that, like, it all starts with him buying him getting the microphone for present." But I remembered the sending our love down the well, all the way down, like
Krusty solo in that shit.
yeah, it's it's so in my head. It lives there. And the part where Bart yells "Sting," like that stuff lives in my head too. So like for me, this feels like a very iconic. And I think it is a pretty okay for an iconic Simpsons episode, especially from the early seasons,
Yes.
Like if I'm gonna break it into into parts, like, seasons 1 through 5 for me have a bit of a different feel than like 5 through
Sure.
15, like so, I think, like, for me, it's a pretty solid, like,
Okay.
3.5. Pretty solid 3.5.
3.5. I'm gonna go 3.8. It's pretty up
Pretty
there
close.
for me. And to remind anybody again who's new, we rate a 1 through 4 because the Simpsons have 4 fingers. So that's our max out score. Or in the Simpsons, God and Jesus both have 5 fingers. So we will rate it anywhere from a 0.1 to a 4.0 in increments of 0.1s. But if it goes beyond that, there'll never be a 4 point something. It goes from 4 directly to a 5. So we have a few episodes in the past that have done that. I'm still accumulating all the scores, but I think there is only one episode that was double 5'd, and that would be I don't even have the names on here. I just have the number. It's episode 21. Both Greg and I gave it a 5. So
I mean, those are
yes,
gonna exist, right?
100%.
Like, those are gonna they're
I've
totally
done
out
it
there.
twice. I've given a 5 to an episode twice in well, I only have up to episode 25 where I've gone back. So there's probably some other ones in between here. So but yeah,
Right.
I think
Yeah, for
that's
sure.
a pretty indicative of what this episode is. It's like maybe not perfect. We all thought we had a bad Sting impression going on most of the time.
But it was real. It wasn't a bad Sting impression at all. It was apparently that's what things sounds like when you can't see him talk. You know what? Maybe that's what it is. Like maybe there's a bit of like a brain disconnect because you're not actually seeing him talk. So it's kind of like, is that just a bad sting impression?
Right,
Like
right.
it sounds fake, but it's not. Just does
What
not
is your
not
problem,
fake at all.
Sting? Well, you guys, that's our rating. That's this episode.
Oh no, we're also gonna do some a quizzy
Okay.
fun
Oh gosh,
facty thing from your deck
yes.
of cards.
Damn it, Bobby. Um, okay, Kristen, who said, "Where is Bart anyway? His dinner's getting all cold and eaten."
Homer said that. I'm sorry. I know that. I can see it in my head
I
as
think I was
you
gonna
were
say I think I
saying
almost accidentally kind of just did a Homer on accident. Uh,
You
okay, so true or false? Marge's mother is named Jacqueline Bouvier.
Oh crap! That's one of those ones where I'm always like, "Is it that, or am I like making it up?" I'm gonna say
You would be
yes.
correct.
Ah, good. That's one of those things where it's like, am I making up for a Jack, like for like because it's like a
You're right,
Jackie
right. This
Kennedy
is a
type of
Jackie O
reference, right?
thing.
So yeah, so I'm like, am I making this up? Because I think it's this. Like, I'm pretty
You
sure
weren't making it
it is
up.
that. So
Check you out.
yes,
So,
look at me.
great episode.
Now you
Yeah,
can end
yeah.
the
Thank you for
now
reminding
you
me.
can
I'll
end the
make sure I write that
podcast.
into my next one. Uh, check out all of our social media grams. We're there. We're gonna be pretty active, I think. Kristen's been doing. If you guys again like this is gonna be in January or February, but we did a cool Advent calendar all the way up to Christmas. With it's gonna still be there. We're not taking it down. So if you want to go watch some great little Christmas
Yeah,
clips,
it's in a
yes, perfect.
playlist.
So you
So
can see those on YouTube, on Instagram, and on TikTok for now. That I don't know what's happening with that shit, but
maybe we'll stick it
yeah,
on
yeah,
somewhere
yeah. So
else
at
eventually.
Cromulent
Like,
Show,
what's one of those other
we're there.
sites?
Cromulent Show at gmail.com. If you're, I mean, it's funny because I was going to say, if you're into the old school way, but it's funny that we refer to emails as an old school way of contact now.
I know it is an old school way though. It's like
Right.
email. Why don't you just
Yeah,
DM
come on
me?
anything. Kristen and I fully run a podcast together, and I know I have her phone number, but I think I've texted her twice in my life. It's
Yeah,
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 it's
it's
not
there.
necessary.
Yep. No, but it's true.
It
No,
is
but it's
very
very
true.
true though. It's very true.
Well, great episode. If they're
Remember to like and
100%,
subscribe.
yeah,
There you
yeah,
go.
yeah, yeah. Make sure
I
to hit
did the
that
thing. Remember
bell.
to like and
Uh,
subscribe. Make some comments. Like if you especially
yeah,
enjoyed
tell
this
us
episode or you knew a piece of trivia we didn't hit, like tell us a piece of trivia. Like we'd love to expand our knowledge of The Simpsons too. So tell
100%
us some
because
trivia if you knew
unfortunately
something
I
that
don't
we didn't bring
have
up.
all the DVDs. So a lot of times when I'm saying, according to the DVD commentary, it's from someone else who's told me about it. So if you got some other
These
info like
notes.
that, please, please, please share. Please share.
Share your info. Share your love of The
Yeah.
Simpsons.
Anything else?
No,
Okay,
I'm
with
good now. There's nothing else there's nothing else that it's like, oh no, remember this. No, we did it all this time. We rated, unlike that one episode where we missed like three of the
yeah,
three things, we
we're
did them all this
professionals,
time.
damn it. That's how we operate. Okay, then we'll see you guys next week. Bye.
Bye bye.